Thank you for watching Retro Tech. Please like and subscribe. Shh.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Retro Tech. Today I've got a brand new episode for you concerning the Neo Geo. Now we're going to do some new things with the new Neo Geo MVS console that I got in the mail. Well, it's not a console yet, but hopefully we can change things. So first I want to just show you what I got in the mail. Let's go ahead now and take you to the workbench. Alright everyone, here's what came in the mail. Now this again is the SNK MV1A, just a single one slot console. Well, it's not a console. I keep calling it a console. It's not a console yet. Right now it's just straight ready to go into an arcade machine on a JAMA harness right here. And the reason I picked this up is it was extremely cheap. It was only $60 shipped. It is the 1A version, which is the one that is more desirable to do modifications to. And the long-term goal is to turn this into a custom console that I can hook up any BVM, PVM, RGB monitor to from this console and play consoleized style of Neo Geo MVS. Let's talk some reasons about why this model is so desirable. You want to go for the 1A or 1B because it's got a chip slot right here in the front, and especially this 1A has a really nice location for this. But this is our BIOS chip, so we can remove this chip very easily without even soldering and just slap a new BIOS chip in here, and we'll do that, and we'll get a lot more features added to this console, or a lot more features added to this board. Then there's some other things we need to do. We need to get rid of this backup battery, and that's going to be a process of removing it and installing a new, I'm going to go with a non-rechargeable replaceable 3-volt battery. So I have to install this, but I also have to remove a couple components here on the back that'll need to be done to make sure that it doesn't just try to recharge a non-rechargeable battery. This is the area on the bottom of the board that we need to work on to get this battery mod done. We'll need to heat up these 2 points so we can pull that battery. But I also need to remove these 3 parts here, which is D2, D1, and R10. And that'll prevent it from trying to recharge the battery in here while I'm working. So it's going to be a pretty simple process of just heating up these solder points. Now I do still want to use just a little bit of flux on those 2 points just to help that solder flow. I'm just going to go ahead right now and just apply hot solder tip to it, and we'll get this battery out. See, the part will come right off. Now you could use a hot air workstation if you've got one, but if not, and you're just trying to remove these parts, this is fine. Get this over. I've got the parts removed here now, so again I removed that battery, and then D1, D2, and R1. And that opens up that loop so it won't recharge this battery anymore. Now it's time to just put the new battery seat in. Alright, so I'm just cleaning up this battery area with some alcohol, just some regular isopropyl alcohol, and while I'm doing that I want to let you know this is one of the most important things to change and at least check out when you first are looking at these kind of boards, if you wanted to buy one, you always got to check this area because that battery will tend to leak after it fails after a couple years, and that fluid comes out and generally, damages this crystal over here or these traces along this chip, and anything down in this area can destroy these traces depending on where it leaks to, and then it causes all kinds of troubles. That's one of the biggest problems. So anytime if you're considering getting this, you need to keep that in mind, that you need to have somebody that can take care of the battery for you. Of course, one of the other important things to do is check the capacitors. Again, I said there's 11 on here. I'm going to order a cap kit. All these are in good condition, at least for the time being. None of them have expanded at all, but it would be a good idea to go ahead and replace those before I put any kind of install in for a new console. Here's the back side. We'll apply a little bit of flux. We'll solder these points to get our new battery holder in place. We have our first mod completed here. Okay, here we have it. Just a new 3-volt battery in there. Now that can be easily changed. Alright, so here's a look at the actual whole machine put together with a little bit of plastic, and it does have some feet to stand on. And what we're going to do now is we're going to just slip this onto the JAMA connector from my 4 slot, because according to the pinout it's the same on both of them for like 95% of the functions. There are some extra things on the 4 slot that are plugged in, so I'm hoping that's not going to interfere with anything. I should be able to just plug it into this JAMA connector, and hopefully we'll get a signal on our monitor, and maybe we can see if some games will work. Alright, so now I've installed the arcade unit in here by just connecting the board. Now there's a lot of different connectors in here because there's some other things like memory card support on these later 4-slot units, as well as controls to a lot of the marquee that won't be involved in this 1 slot. So they're not even going to be plugged in. And I'm just hoping that won't interfere with anything on this ability to show a screen or not. Okay everyone, I've got it hooked up. It seems to be working fine. No game is in it, but it does give me the crosshatch pattern, which is a good sign that it's going to work. All I did was flip it on, and I've got system in there, just down in there. Added Fatal Fury 3. Okay, so it seems to be fine. Let's just see what we got going on here. A lot of things don't light up, again, like I said, because this is a more sound, or has more features in this 4 unit. Down there, Bob. Okay, so it's just working perfectly as far as play-wise and everything. Alright, so there you have it. I would have left it running, but I couldn't get the sound to turn down, so it just would have been kind of loud and pretty obnoxious in the background for me. But I just wanted to let you know that, again, other uses for this. This is only a $60 delivered board. So if you find a old cabinet that has maybe some bad old game in it or needs some work, you could throw one of these Neo Geo machines in, and all of a sudden you have an MVS player. But what we're going to do with this one is most likely I'm either going to build another cabinet, or I'm probably going to put it into a console. And with this 1 slot, I need to go and order a couple things. I'll need to somehow get a power supply unit into it, a normal power supply unit into it. I got to get RGB video out to a SCART connector, and then audio out, and as well as wire up some controller inputs. And The easiest way I think to do that, and maybe the best way to do that, is to just get a new whole harness and wire all those things in that harness. That way I could slip out boards and change that console if I wanted to. So it's going to be a really fun project. Please stick with me and let me know what you think. But for today, that's probably going to do it. Again, if you do come across one of these, it is so important to do that battery switch, because that's really going to destroy a lot of these boards, or it already has began to. And if you find one that doesn't work, that's most likely the culprit. So next time, just look for us. We're going to change those caps and we'll get started on building that console. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.